All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Frantic Talks podcast, episode 23. I am your host, Frantic, and as with me, as always, is my lovely co-host.
Grunt.
And we are here to talk to you about video
Video
games
games and junk.
and junk, as always. Alrighty. So we got a good amount of stuff to talk about today. I'm actually really excited to talk about a few things that we have on the schedule today.
Indeed,
Uh,
I am too.
some of the stuff is going to be short, but we have something planned at the very end of the episode that we talked about doing. I think the last time we did something like this, it's top five countdown, and last time we did top five as our favorite characters, not like the best characters in video games ever, just personal favorites. I remember mine specifically. What was it, Master Chief? I swear it was Master Chief.
Um,
See, I already forgot,
number
even though it's my
one.
favorite, but
Number one. No, I think it was Sergeant Johnson was your
that,
favorite.
that's right. I knew it was someone from Halo. I
Yeah.
love everybody almost equally from there. So picking is like that, and then yours was like if I can't remember mine, I'm down. I'm gonna remember yours. But
Uh, it's somewhere here. It's Dutch from ODST.
yes, so we like the Halo games, as you will soon come
Just a
to
little
find
bit.
out.
Little bit.
Anyways, like I said, we're here to talk about video games and junk. So we'll have a top five countdown coming here at the end of this episode, probably after about a half hour or so. That'll be top five of our favorite soundtracks. It's going to be quite fun in my mind. We have some honorable mentions, so hopefully, if we don't pick your favorite one, it'll be on there. But anyways, let's start this off like we normally do. Grunt, how was your week?
Every time you ask me that, I normally say my week's been good, but this week it was actually amazing.
Really?
Yes, it was. And really, it was one sole factor behind that,
I think
which
I know where you're going with.
you probably do. Yes. Earlier in the week, I was invited to join a new clan in Destiny. As you past several weeks, I've left my original clan because of reasons I'm not going to get in on here. Nothing too bad, but whatever. Um,
Politics more than anything.
Being called a fake, I don't appreciate that.
Okay,
Um, yeah,
even
yeah,
better.
but
I won't call you that, but anyways.
that's that. I joined another one, and then like I said earlier this week, started this week as a matter of fact, it was on Monday. I got invited to join a place called the Rezo House. It's a open community clan for Destiny players,
Hmm.
but it is created and supported by Team Resolute. Um, Team Resolute is a small they're a smaller clan on Destiny. They stick mainly on the PS4.
Okay.
So looking at that, there's really no way I was getting into that. But I have huge amounts of respect for those guys. They are amazing at that. They built a really well-known clan in Destiny and have continued to support it. And now they saw that a lot of people were wanting to sport that Resolute name, but they wanted to keep their main clan by its standards. I guess it's not really standards, but its core values. I guess you could say what they wanted it to be,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
and they decided to open up the Rezo House, and I was invited to join it earlier in the week as a founding member for it. So,
That's super cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. Well, good job, man. I'm glad for you for that.
so
How many
yeah,
people are
that's
in it right now? Like, is it still small, like 10? Is it already gotten to 100? What are you at?
um, that's a very good question. I do not know. It has grown. It the original member base for it before we opened it up to the public to join on Friday yesterday
Hmm.
was around 33 members, I think.
Okay.
36 if you want to include the current admins, which are the overlords of Resolute.
Hmm.
Um, I would say probably by now, just the way it's grown, maybe close to 100 already. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's a good size. Hopefully
You know,
they stick into it. Like I've heard too many horror stories of like WoW teams and WoW groups just disbanding after like a year or two, even though they had hundreds of active members. That's partly due to WoW, in their opinion, going downhill, but more to the
right.
point, I hope this isn't like a short-term deal from any of them, you know?
I don't think so. The people they invited into it are, to start with, and even now are really, really passionate about the place. I don't think they want to see anything happen to it for a long time.
Right.
So things are looking very good, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, good. I'm glad you found that, and I hope you get many raids taken care of now.
Oh, I'm sure we will. We'll be downing Oryx in the King's Fall raid and all kinds of other stuff.
Fair enough. All
Outside of
right.
that, though, it's been spent playing mostly Dying Light. I figured out how to start the new DLC for it.
Right. And how was that in terms of how do you start
Um,
it?
well, I feel like an idiot for saying it now, but you go into the new game option, or the play game option is actually what it is, and it's right there. The following, play game, the following, and that's that.
Good
It's something
job.
very simple.
It happens. Sometimes you just can't seem to figure out how to activate it. It's not like Destiny
Yep.
where it literally just tells you,
Here,
go
here's what
here.
you're going to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Um, been playing a lot of Saints Row 4 since it's backwards compatible on the Xbox One. It's a fun, over the top game.
Yeah, I saw you in a good old freak show. We're playing that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We're trying to 100% it, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to need done. So,
yeah, it's not as big as Grand Theft Auto, but it's still pretty in depth in that sense.
oh yeah,
So that could take you some time.
right.
Well, good luck on that, and I hope you get the death metal gun, because that
Mm,
sounds awesome.
it was.
For those of you who don't know, the game has this gun called the Dubstep gun, and now there's DLC for it where you can reskin it to do other things. And basically, when you fire it, it plays music of the different genre that you've downloaded to it or have just done dubstep. So it's rather hilarious.
But yeah, that's pretty much. I've dabbled a little bit in Iron Banner and Destiny this week. So
Yeah, I haven't been on too much this week. I've had quite the busy week, but I was on Tuesday on Destiny to pick up Iron Banner stuff and play a little bit after the reset. And then I finally got on last night, which was Friday. It's Saturday while we record this. Friday, I finally got on and started actually doing stuff in it and got the challenge of elders done on my main character and some Iron Banner dailies done. And then today I woke up actually pretty early today and got all my characters to rank 3 in Iron Banner. So that was good.
nice,
I
nice.
still am lacking chess pieces. That is like my weak point now. It used to be helmets. Now it's chess pieces. Because I've gotten like 3 or 4 helmets from the past couple of rewards I've done. Oh, we did trials last night too. That's what. Almost got to 7 wins, but didn't. But whatever.
I'm telling you, every time we say we're gonna get to 7 wins, we jinx ourselves.
I know we really do. Like we were 6-0 and only had one loss because we had the loss that was forgiven through for us on the boon
The
or
mercy.
whatever. So we got into 6-0 on our record, and then literally just lost the rest of the games. Could not beat the other people. It didn't help that the last game Freak Show got kicked. He just
Yeah,
got
no.
kicked back to the title screen, had to relog in, and actually couldn't. He uh, didn't re- hard he didn't have to hard reset his Xbox, but it took him a while to get back in.
Yeah, it's just
Uh,
like the game said, no, you can't play.
yeah. Other than that, what I did this week, I finished off Daredevil season 1, which is very good. I would recommend that to anybody who hasn't watched it yet and really likes comic book stuff. It is super good.
Hmm.
Um, there is, and if you see that and you're like, oh, what do I do now? Watch season 2. You actually should probably watch Marvel's Jessica Jones on Netflix because that was what filled the gap between season 1 and season 2 of Daredevil, and it also takes place in the same city area. It's called Hell's Kitchen in New York. So I don't know if that has anything to do with Daredevil. I'm going to assume it has a lot. It's in the same uh, time span of what happens in Daredevil, so it probably should have some stuff to do with it. And then season 2, they introduced the Punisher versus Daredevil, basically, and that sounds like it's amazing. The guy who plays the Punisher is actually on The Walking Dead. Or
Was on The
he
Walking
was,
Dead.
yeah. His name. We played Chase. Was that his name? Was that right?
Shane.
Shane. Okay, I knew it was like I had 2 of the 5 letters of his name, right? Anyways, actually, I had 3. That doesn't matter. But yes, he played Shane on The Walking Dead, and that's who the Punisher is. And apparently, he's an amazing Punisher. So I'm excited for that because I never saw the Punisher movies that they had. Heard they were pretty okay. The Daredevil movie, I caught a glimpse of it when I was younger. Heard it was also terrible. Just like most of the movies from that time that weren't the X-Men or Spider-Man, they were all just kind of terrible. So this one does the Daredevil justice, and supposedly Jessica Jones is amazing, and season 2 of Daredevil is amazing. And to give you a hint at how good the Punisher was, they're doing a standalone series on Netflix for him as well.
Hmm.
Other stuff
Yeah.
that's coming is Nick Cage, and I'm some other stuff, but Nick Cage I'm super excited for just because I read some of his comics and he's pretty great.
You say Nick
So
Cage, and I instantly thought of Nicolas Cage, and I'm like, why are people excited for that?
yeah,
Because normally, I'm not dissing him as an actor. I liked the National Treasure movies he did and some of the other stuff he's done. But naturally, people laugh at Nicolas Cage, so I'm like, this is weird. And then I realized you're talking about comics. Oh,
yeah, and Nick Cage is this like really bulky black guy. So
yeah,
he looks
totally
super
different.
strong. Yeah, absolutely different. No doubt in my mind that Nicolas Cage could play him in a movie though.
Probably would.
It just reminds me of that Community episode. I don't know if you ever watched Community, but they did an episode where there's this character who's really meta and likes to talk about how he thinks they're on a TV show because that's the joke. And he knows everything about TV and movie tropes. And there's this class where the drama teacher's like, "Is Nick Cage a genius? We need you to study his films." And then they warn this character. His name is Abed, by the way. They warn him and are like, don't go overboard on this. Last time there was a class like this, which was who was really the boss from Who's the Boss, Abed spent all of his time studying it and figured it out and cost the teacher his job essentially. And so it was like, don't overanalyze Nicolas Cage. You will just hurt yourself trying to do it. And he comes into the class after literally analyzing him all in his spare time because he's kind of crazy. He he just walks in, his hair's all destroyed, like all spiked up and stuff, and he's just like wide-eyed. And then he does an entire like 30-second impression of Nicolas Cage just in like multiple movies, and it's really freaking funny. If you never watched Community, I would also highly recommend Community. It's a very funny show, very good show. Um, I would at least watch the first 3 seasons. This Nicolas Cage episode isn't until the 4th season, where the writing got kind of eh. It's either the
Mm,
fourth or fifth. Either way, fourth and fifth season I didn't much care for, and then the
right.
sixth season I actually haven't watched yet. But yeah, seasons 1, 2, 3 definitely watch. Anyways, done talking about junk. I think other than that, like I said, I had a good week. Watched some TV. Uh, that was really about it. I've been
It's
marathoning Breaking Bad again with my girlfriend because we just finished Better Call Saul, and we're like, oh, let's watch it. So yeah,
it's uh it's interesting to note that you didn't mention anything about Arrow.
I haven't watched the episode from this week, and I refuse to. Uh,
All right,
I'm
fair
a,
enough.
all right. So let's put it this way. I watched the Flash episode. It was good. Whatever. I haven't watched Legends of Tomorrow from Thursday. I just haven't gotten around to it. But Arrow did have an episode this week after not having one for the past 2 weeks, something like that. Uh, I was thinking, you know what? I might watch it. I might not. And then I felt, oh well, I just broke a clothespin. Um, don't play with clothespins in your spare time. I I read some of the comments on the live episode discussion on Reddit, and it's probably not the best place to get an opinion on the show because they all are just like, fuck this show. Pardon my French. So I just was reading through it, and they're like, some people did some like quick synopsises, or synopsises, whatever the plural is of synopsis. And there's this one guy on there who actually does dedicated synopsis, which I did in air quotes. Grunt couldn't see that. But basically, what happens is I lost my train of thought. No, what it is he takes the episodes and then just makes fun of them in a like he goes through the episodes, takes screen caps of them, and then puts his own quotes in or their quotes, and then reflects on how stupid it was or how this and that. And they tend to be really funny. Even if the episode was really good, he can still spin it in a funny way.
Nice.
It's getting to the point where he can't stand to actually watch them and do this, but he still does it because the fan base of Reddit wants him to.
Hmm.
And they're all just like, yeah, I'm just going to continue reading your stuff. Sorry you have to keep watching it, but yours is much better than what they're actually writing. So I'm kind of on that boat right now, where I'm going to read what he says and just kind of get a good overall feel for it, because he's kind of nailed everything on the head, instead of in terms of what was good, what was bad, why it's dumb, and why it's not dumb. So uh,
Right.
to say I trust his judgment would be stupid, but I definitely enjoy what he puts out and definitely see the issues that plague the show. And I don't know if I will continue watching it unless somehow by the end of the season I see that they miraculously changed it or whatever, which is unlikely to happen. But
Right.
basically, this past episode, from what I'm seeing, is just not good. So I'm not. jumping up to go watch it. I will eventually probably finish the season just because I hate not finishing things. But other than that, whatever. But anyways, we've had something up on screen this whole time here. We've had the Division in the background while we talk about other random things not at all related to the Division.
Hmm.
If you remember last week, we had talked about how there were some glitches people were exploiting and bugs and stuff that potentially they were going to start punishing people. We wanted to follow this story and get more info on you. If you paid attention to Twitter, you might have seen Grunt tweet at me about this specific article that I have up on screen. And if you did not see it, it's quite all right. We're going to go through it really quick. It's actually rather short, but it's very important to note what they're doing. So, without further ado, let's go through real fast. For the most part, they explain that if you're cheating, you shouldn't be, and they're going to really hit you hard, like 14-day suspension on your first offense of cheating. Now,
Which
they
it
don't
was.
really. What is cheating in this game? They don't really say.
I guess they've had a lot of people using. It's more specifically. It's more prevalent on the PC version. I almost said PS.
Oh, okay.
The PC version of the game where they're using like a third-party hacking software or something on their computer,
Okay.
and they're basically hacking the net code of the game or something. So it's
I think that's reasonable then.
yeah.
I wasn't sure what cheating was. I had a feeling I knew what cheating was because they go on to explain bugging or exploiting a bug. So I figured
Hmm.
that's not cheating necessarily in terms of just strictly cheating. Like in Destiny, you can cheat in Trials of Osiris if you have a third-party app on your computer that can find someone's IP address in your game and just DDoS them. You can kick them from the game and get a free win, which is happening, by the way. People are getting banned for it. So don't do that. Don't ever do that. That's the biggest douchebag thing you could ever do.
As a
But
matter of, as a matter of fact, last week Bungie just handed out a lot of bans. It sounded like so.
and I have no doubt in my mind it was probably a lot of it related to that because they have been saying, or at least the subreddit has said that they've come out to mention like people are doing this and it's bullshit, basically.
Right.
Uh, if that's something that you enjoy doing, I don't want to say you're a terrible human being, but you should probably find other ways of entertaining yourself. That's just awful. Uh, don't do that. I don't understand hacking the game. Like, if I have like my Pokemon game on my Game Boy, I enjoy hacking it to get hilarious Pokemon with hilarious abilities, and in no way, shape, or form am affecting anyone around me because it's not multiplayer. Unless I go
Right.
into like a online multiplayer, which I never really do because I don't have a system that does that. I have a Nintendo DS that can't connect to my Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi standards are too advanced for the old dated system. Pretty great, right? But anyways, that's the only time I think I've ever hacked anything, and it was using like an Action Replay or a Game Shark just to get infinite rare candies, so I didn't have to level my Pokemon from level 2 to level 100 every single time I got something I liked. So that was really all I did. Just get some of the good stuff and then still play the game the way it was supposed to be played for the most part. That's the worst I've ever done. And like I said, that affects no one around me. But when it comes into stuff like going on to the old Call of Duty games and just getting destroyed by people who can spawn in invisible or invulnerable, it's just like, God damn it.
Why? Why
Why
is
are
this
you? Yeah.
happening? Why
Why?
are you doing this?
I don't. I think I get it if you're like wanting to just try it out and laugh at it and see how funny it is. But if you just genuinely sit down and turn on the hacks every time you want to play a game and don't play the game that it was meant to be played, what's the point?
Right.
It's like I don't know how to describe it. But anyways, don't cheat. That's the moral of this story. And they're saying that too. Like they'll ban you for 14 days on your first offense and then permanently ban you after that, which is reasonable to me. It used to be a 3-day ban, but now it's 2 weeks. So I wouldn't do it, and neither should you. Trademark. It's a really weird trademark. Anyways,
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, and neither should you.
yeah. So bug exploits. This is the big one. So this is what we were talking about, where they found a way to what was it? Just get like infinite rewards because of the way you could get through it without actually setting off checkpoints, pretty much.
Yeah, get through their new incursion with basically just glitch through part of it, and you would, if you did it right, you could trick the game into thinking that you didn't get the rewards for that week.
Yeah.
So it's on a weekly lockout, like the stuff is in Destiny. A lot of the stuff is in Destiny,
hmm
um, and it's just people found a way around that.
Yeah. So think about that in Destiny's sense, where we had the loot cave. It's the best example I can give because it was literally just farming to get some engrams to get better gear. It's the equivalent of paying to win. It's
Mhm.
not, but you know what I mean. You can just farm this loot cave. Did Destiny or did Bungie ever come out and say this is wrong? We're gonna ban you for it?
The only thing they ever said was the fact that they didn't anticipate their community to stand in front of a cave for several hours uh, per day farming for engrams, and that's not how they wanted you to play Destiny. And that was it. They never banned anyone.
To me, that sounds like a quick little jab at like, come on, guys, really? You're just gonna sit in front of a cave and get stuff? How is that fun? But at the same time, they didn't ban anyone. That is really important. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're outright banning people, but what's important is on screen, and it might be hard to read, but it is this paragraph, this 2 lines of text that are right above my head and Grunt's head that starts with second over by my head. Second, sanctions will be implemented to players who, yeah, up here, who repeatedly abuse exploits and will vary depending on the severity of the abuse as well as the history of the player. These sanctions include character rollbacks, account suspensions, and permanent bans. Or in other words, we didn't finish our game, or at least we
It's
thought we did,
your fault.
but it's your fault.
Right.
And
And
this is
that,
exactly what we said they shouldn't do, if you recall
right.
last episode.
Yeah. And I don't, you know, I,
There's no
all
words
right.
for it. It's
There isn't.
stupid.
No.
They
There's no
shouldn't be
way.
doing this.
No.
That's
You
the
shouldn't punish your players for doing something that is your problem. I mean, that's dumb. I do like how they say that they're going because of this. They're going to improve their development and testing processes. So on the bright side, there is that.
Yeah,
But
but they even
again,
say earlier, like, unfortunately, we cannot simulate the experience that millions of different players will have and how they will play the game. As a
right,
result, some bugs may get through.
right,
But
and that happens. That's going to happen in every game because we don't live in a utopia where everything is perfect. And that game development is definitely not perfect.
no, it's not. And you can't anticipate releasing something like a game where that is loot driven like this is, where
Mm-hmm.
people who want to be at the best gear and don't necessarily have the most time to do it, or I do, you can't sit there and just think that they're gonna play by the rules of your morality in terms of how you design the game. As
Mm-hmm.
Destiny or as Bungie said, from what you had said, is that we didn't anticipate them spending their time this way, and this isn't how we wanted them to play it. So instead of sitting there and being like, "Fuck you guys, get off our game if you're not gonna play it right," like Ubisoft is clearly saying, they instead said, "Let's just fix that bug and hope they play it more like we intended them to play it."
Right.
That's There's gonna be ways to get through things that you don't want to do. That's how speedrunning is a thing. Besides being able to just play through the game perfectly, there's gonna be bugs. There's gonna be glitches that people abuse to get through the game either as fast as possible. Actually, it's really just that getting the best stuff as fast as possible or beating the game as fast as possible.
Right.
That's These bugs get discovered, and that's what happens. So I don't know. I think this is stupid. I think
Yeah.
this is literally the writing is on the wall that this game will not be here next by this time next year or even in the next 6 months in terms of a community. There will be the people who are still dedicated to it. Like if this happened in Destiny, there would still be people playing Destiny because they enjoy Destiny, they enjoy everything around it and like playing it even though the team that is running it could be just banning them if they accidentally found a glitch and loved the glitch so much that they kept doing it.
Right. And I
It's
got the
dumb.
game as a birthday gift, and I feel terrible that uh, those who gave it to me basically are wasting my money because I haven't played it. But I mean, how can you really like or support something like
Hmm.
that? You can't.
It's not as related as, but like you said, the money that was spent on it is wasted, and that's how I feel about Star Wars Battlefront. You've heard me before say on here my disdain for the game just because it was like literally my girlfriend paid $60 to get me this game because I really actually it was 70 because we got the deluxe edition. I really wanted it because I was nostalgic for Battlefront 1 and 2, and this game is just terrible. Yes, it's a Battlefront game, and it is very good in terms of mechanics, but they gave us nothing for the price. We got a game that works and some maps.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. There's no campaign or anything, which I'm not too upset about. The campaign in the first and second game wasn't really a campaign per se. It was like Galactic Conquest, which was one of my favorite game modes, where you could like try to conquer different planets via just battling. And then there was a little bit of a storyline in Battlefront 2, but for the most part, it was about the split screen where you could play against bots. And then they literally took out everything except like a wave, like a firefight essentially, and the multiplayer. And there was like 8 maps for multiplayer, and then they just are releasing more maps, and you had to pay $15 to get the new maps. And then there's like, by the end of it, you end up paying like 3 times the price to get all the maps, and it's like, I feel like I could have paid just 60 for this,
Right.
and that's what makes me mad about it. And this isn't an example of exploiting DLC, but this is an example of where the money is going to be wasted, like he was saying, and that's what made me think of it. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
you can't treat your player base like crap and expect them to stay around.
Yeah, because they're not.
Especially, this is like me saying, I'm an Uber driver. I don't like people eating in my car. That's on my list of rules. Um, I had a friend in the car the other day who I was okay with eating in my car because he's my friend and I trust him. Turns out he left his sandwich in the back of the car, half eaten or something like that, about an hour ago. And now I'm going to pick somebody up, and someone's really hungry and finds a sandwich and starts eating it, and I'm like, "What the hell? Why are you eating in my car? I said not to eat it." And he said, "Well, it was here already. Get out of my car." Like this is the exact example of that. Now that's a terrible analogy looking back on it, but still, it's the same thing. It was their fault that these bugs got into the game.
Right.
Whether they meant to leave them in or if they just didn't find them, it's their fault. So you can't sit
Right.
here and just be like, "Hey guys, fuck you, get off my game.
Right.
You're exploiting something that we left in the game." Like
Right. I would
it's a
have
joke.
been, accepting of the fact that, if they would have done like gear rollbacks or, taking away the gear that these people earned from exploiting it, I would have been okay with that. That's fine. That happened all the time back in the days of Halo 3 and Reach and all of that. Other games, rank resets. You cheated, you got this. Well, you can't have that because you cheated. So re earn it.
But banning?
But banning people, that's not, like you said, that's not how you treat your player base.
No. And you have to expect them to abuse it. You can't just act like everybody's perfect and follows the same moral code you follow. That's
Right.
not how the world works.
Right. They're
So
honor rules, and the internet doesn't really follow honor rules.
yeah, they don't. They really don't. So to expect that of them is
pretty,
childish
pretty,
almost.
pretty something. Yeah, something like that.
So I think that covers it basically on this topic. Like I said, we wanted to deliver it to you just because we were interested in it, and it really spells the best the way they look at their player base versus like another company like Bungie, how they look at their player base. How I view this is Bungie respects the people who plays their game because that's how they make their money, that's how they make their living, and without them, there's no point. Ubisoft looks at them almost as if they're children who need disciplined, and I don't think that is how you should treat people. No matter how old they are, no matter their experience, their maturity, anything, you shouldn't treat someone like a child just because they don't follow the way you think things should be. That's not right, and you
Right.
shouldn't
And
treat your player base like that at all.
right. And just sitting here thinking about it as you were talking there, what is this going to do for other players that didn't necessarily do the exploit, but maybe they were in a group of friends that did the exploit, and that's how they got their gear. They can't do that glitch or whatever by themselves because they don't want to do it or they don't know how to do it or whatever. Are they going to get banned because their group of friends they were playing with, were doing it?
That's a good question. I don't. I would hope not, but at the same
I would
time,
hope
I don't
not
know how
too.
they're gonna. I don't know how they track this.
Yeah,
So it all depends on how they're tracking it. If each account has like a number of times, uh, number of things gained from the incursion, like if it counts your total loot from an incursion, I feel like that was how they could potentially
right.
figure out who exploited the crap out of it. So
It would probably be something relatively simple because you're allowed like 4 total characters per
mhm,
account. So rightfully, you could run it 4 times each week. So
right,
if you
Okay.
ran it 5 times, oops, you did something bad there.
Well, I mean, you can run the Nightfall multiple times on Destiny. It's just you only get your rewards once.
That's
I
true.
mean, if you're helping a friend through the incursion, I don't know if the incursion like locks after you play it once, but that would be really dumb
I
if it
don't think
did.
so because when it first came out, there were people farming it for something that can drop every time, um,
So then,
even
yeah,
after you've gotten your weekly rewards. So I guess it's not that simple.
yeah, and they might have some sort of counter for weekly rewards, but nonetheless, if you get banned from this game or you get reset, even though you barely you exploited the glitch once, I would love to hear your rage. Please send it to me so I can feature you, or send it to Grunt too. I really would love to just take a screen cap of a bunch of people who are pissed off that they got reset, even though they never exploited or exploited it once. So
I'm sure if we visit the Division Reddit in about a week or two, you'd probably find some
yeah, I could do
salt
that
over
too.
there.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. I think that's all we need to really say about this. It's stupid. I don't think the division will be at all relevant in the next year because of this. It just they don't care
Hmm
unless they somehow reevaluate their entire code of, oh, we should probably treat our players with some respect. So that being said, we spent about what like 15 minutes on that, a little longer than I thought. We're gonna spend a lot more time talking about this next piece, and I'm excited about it actually. I think a little more excited than the last thing we discussed from one of their updates, but the Halo Reach, not the Halo Reach, the Halo update, which does have things related to Reach in it. The Memories of Reach preview, they just posted on their community update 14 hours ago as of this recording, because it's on screen right now and says 14 hours ago. It is a preview of the new update that is coming. I don't actually know when it is coming. It's probably May something.
I'm going to say the end of May.
Considering it is literally the last day of April as we record this, I would hope it is May something.
It is the last day of April.
Unless they just somehow get it out. But anyways, a couple of cool things are coming. First and foremost, it is Infection will be coming, the game type Infection. If you've never played Infection in either the Halo games or when they introduced it into Call of Duty at one point, basically one person starts off infected versus everybody else, or potentially a couple more, depending on the number of people in the game. And then whenever they kill somebody, that person is infected, and then the idea is to, kill everyone that remains. Kind of like a zombie. Wow, who would have known? Um, it is coming in this next update. It will have, looks like a max player count of 12, or at least in the playlist. And then you get 4 rounds, 3 minutes each. New custom game option of last squad standing. Doesn't really go into detail what that means.
New game mode, I'm betting.
Spartans have all Spartans' abilities, naturally, in parentheses. Infected have Thrust, Smart Scope, and Stabilize. And there are new medals, and they go and show you all of them. The Zombie Hunter, which is the killing spree of zombies. Zombie Slayer, which is the killing frenzy. Hell's Janitor, which is the rampage.
Hell's Janitor. I remember
Yeah,
that medal. Oh,
that was a
man.
pretty great one. And then Hell's Jumper, which is the 20 kill, which I don't remember what that one is particularly. And then there's Zombicide, which is 25. The Cure, which is 30, which is kind of
The
hilarious.
Cure.
The only reason I know this is because it's in increments of 5. It doesn't actually say it on the screen. I just kind of know. So if you're
Most of the killing sprees in Halo are in increments of 5.
so yeah,
Most games, I would think, are in increments of 5.
educated guess. And then multi-kill medals. There's Infector for a double, Carrier for a triple, Ravager for a overkill. I think this is as the Infected, by the way.
That's what I'm thinking.
Plague Bearer, which is a Killtrosity, and Lord of the Flies, which is Killtrosity. I said Killtrosity last one. Killtacular is the Plague Bearer. Killtrosity is the Lord of the Flies, and I love that. I want that medal because that's pretty great. Last Man Standing.
I love the name of it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. There's a Last Man Standing, Infected, Ancient One, Survive, blah blah blah. Resourceful. Don't know what that means. Stalker. It's got some knives. Maybe you're assassinating somebody. I don't know. Flatline. I'm sure you'll get these and figure it out. It doesn't actually say what. Then they go on to talk about Forge. They just show you this cryptic image.
Pictures.
Again, I remember last time we went over their updates, they just showed a cryptic picture. This one's a lot different than the last one. The colors are changing a little bit on the stuff, so maybe there's a way to change colors. I don't know. Maybe there's some little detail on the image data that we haven't looked at. Well, I mean, it looks like it maybe in game, like we can set like a timer for it to change, like a script or something. I don't know.
You could also do that now.
Oh,
man, I'm ruining
your
ideas here. I'm a buzzkill.
It's okay. It's okay. I'd rather not speculate on things that already exist in the game and sound like an idiot, you know?
Oh, speculation.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Hmm.
Anyways, they go into the Memories of Reach Rec preview, and there's some pretty cool stuff in here. All of it, which I think is actually really cool. This is one of the first ones I've looked at where I've liked pretty much everything I saw except for like one thing. Um, Anyways, we're getting a new arena map called Stasis. Have not seen or heard anything really about this, I don't believe. If we have, I'm lying. Either way, Infection is coming. The Brute Plasma Rifle will be coming. That was a Halo 2 exclusive plasma rifle that I
Yep.
really enjoyed.
Pretty
And it,
excited to see it coming back. It was
yeah,
fun to use.
it overheats faster if they keep true to the Halo 2 style of it, but it
It
deals more
should.
damage.
Has a faster firing rate too.
That too. There's a legendary weapon or something. It's blurred out. I can't really tell what it is. Looks big. That's all I can tell you. Then there's something else. I don't know what this is. It's just the Oni emblem, but it's not an emblem. It just says legendary. So I don't know what it is. Um, if someone knows what that is, let me know. I truly don't know. I can't tell you anything besides it's legendary and it says oh it's the Oni triangle or pyramid or whatever. That's it. If you know what it is,
Hmm.
please tell me. So,
It might. It might be the actual Oni emblem.
well, the thing is, if you look very right next to it, the Emil emblem, which is Emil from Halo Reach, the scars he carved into his helmet, that is an emblem, and it's like it's in a rectangle. You see that?
Actually, no, I don't.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had it open in front of you.
No.
Um,
Are you kidding?
but
I'd probably murder my internet doing that.
that's a good point. But the ones that are distinctly emblems have like the little dog tags in the top right corner, and
Mm.
everything has something in the top right corner. This one specifically does not. So I don't know what it is, and it could just be like a
Interesting.
classified cover. But it'd be really weird that that's covered and the one before it isn't. But anyways, there's the Anu Emil emblem. Now there's a George emblem, and those are the only two we're getting. We're not getting anybody else. Um,
Sorry if you liked.
who were the other ones?
Uh. Oh my
Noble
God.
Noble one. I
Cat.
forgot his name. I know Cat. Yeah, because she had the robotic arm.
Horrible driver, by the
June.
way.
Yeah, she's terrible. June was the
Um.
sniper. Um,
Carter.
Carter was
Carter was
Noble
Noble
one,
One.
and then Noble Six was you. So.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, there's new skins for all the primary weapons that are UNSC. There's Azure Dream, which is blue and white with like a hint of like, is that green? I think like just a quick green stripe going down each one of them. There is those are rare. There's legendary skins for the assault rifle and Magnum. There's Blue Team and Noble, which both are variations of blue with cool little logos on them. For
I want the Noble one
yeah, the Noble one looks really cool.
because Noble Team was awesome.
And then there's a bunch of ultra rare skins for the assault and Magnum or assault rifle and Magnum as follows. There's ODST, which is think like a flaming hot rod style is basically how I can describe that. There's Osiris Team, which is just pretty much gray, dark gray. There's Shark Tooth Grin. Is that what that's called? Yeah, Shark Tooth Grin, which for some reason they put the assault rifle in there twice. But that's literally, if you've ever gotten the Dragon's Breath in Halo, or not in Halo, in Destiny, it is the exact same skin, just on assault rifle and Magnum. And if you
I
don't know
think.
that, it's just like a shark. I really can't describe it beyond that.
Yeah. I think the flamethrower back in the PC version of Halo One had that skin on it too. So
That seems about right.
that was also interesting to note. I smirked at that when I saw that.
And then yeah, and then
Nice
there's
little nod if that's actually what they did.
I wouldn't be surprised because the next one's a nod. Spirit of Fire is
Halo Wars, correct?
yeah, I know it from Halo Wars because it came in my Halo Wars Collector's Edition. I got like a little, it wasn't a
Little
sticker, but it was like a
patch.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have that around here somewhere.
that is the ship. I don't actually remember the type of ship it is, and I can't remember the name of the ship from Halo 3 or Halo 2. Oh, was it an Amberclad? It was an
In
Amberclad.
Amberclad was
How do
from
I not
Halo.
remember that when that's coming up later? Oh my god.
I don't know. You're
Spoiler alert.
slacking on your Halo fandom, man.
I know, I know. Spirit of Fire was the equivalent of the an Amberclad back in Halo Wars in the early days, so that's what that was. And then onto two more skins for the Assault Rifle and Magnum, which are rare, called UNSC, which is primarily gray, like a desert gray, with a red stripe through them, and then the UNSC logo towards the end of the barrel. So those are all the new skins for the guns that are coming. They've spoiled all of them, unless one of the ones at the top that hasn't been revealed is not a skin. I believe it is something completely different. There is a new visor, which is dark purple to light purple, called Royal. Looks purple, very purple.
Purple? It must be purple.
There's some legendary armor that hasn't been spoiled, and I'm gonna assume it is some Halo Reach stuff.
I'd be a little disappointed if it
I
wasn't.
think the one on the very far left is George. It looks a lot like his helmet from what's blurred, and then the one after that just looks like a recruit helmet, but for some reason it's ultra rare. So
Could be Noble Six's helmet, because that was
oh, yeah,
the default helmet was like recruit helmet or something like that.
I hope it's got like the bullet hole in it from when he took it off at the end.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would. But we do get to see Emil's helmet and chest piece that are legendary, which makes us think that it would be the Noble Six helmet. So you can get his helmet and his chest piece, and including his like arms and stuff, the way it was set up. So when we saw that preview last 2 weeks ago, we said
I
we
think
thought
so.
that's what. Yeah, we said we thought this is what it was. Hey, it turns out it is. And then there looks like there's a new assassination that's blurred out. There is a brutalist stance, which is you hold your character holding a brute plasma rifle. Something after that, it's too dark to tell. Followed by three.
Brutalist.
Yeah,
Ha, that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. You get it because brute plasma.
I got it.
Anyways, three emblems. One called anti-dot, depending on how you pronounce it, and that looks like they'll have
Anti-dot, my
a loading
good
screen
sir.
from Reach. Makes sense. We're in Reach. The drone emblem, which has been in Halo before. I don't know how to describe it besides like pseudo Eagle Man, where he's got like the wings going behind him, and it's really hard to describe to you if you're not really looking at it. And then the number 10, which for some reason is in Seahawks colors, even though we can change the colors. I mean, we know why. I'm just saying. And then
Let's not touch on that.
yeah, that's not at all. And then
Keep
there's
going.
4 new weapons essentially, or different abilities for weapons. There's an assault rifle, battle rifle, and an SMG, and they totally. Someone did not finish this picture collage. I'm telling you that right now because we have 2 Shark Tooth Grin assault rifles up at the very top, and then at the bottom, the assault rifle, the battle rifle, and the SMG that all get this new ability don't even have the right names. The assault rifle still says assault rifle, the battle rifle has the subtitle of assault rifle, and the SMG says DMR. Someone
What?
didn't finish this.
Man, I know it was probably later in the day that they wrote that up, but
So I think that top middle where I was saying like I don't know what this is, doesn't have anything, is just their placeholder image, and someone didn't remove it. Like I'm really sure that's what that is.
man,
Oh, that's really funny.
man, oh man, oh man.
Anyways, then later on down we get the zoom in of the brute plasma rifle, and then we get into weapon balance updates, and these are patch notes essentially that they just kind of go in depth into, and I don't want to get too in depth with this because I want to cover some other stuff in the time that we have remaining. But basically, they kind of show you their logic behind weapons. Essentially, there's the base weapon like an energy sword, and then there's the 3 tiers above it, or 2 tiers depending on whatever it is. So there's the energy sword, then the ravening silver, the I can't actually say that was the Vorpal Titan or Talon or something like that, and then
Talon.
and then the Prophet's Bane, and those are like ranging from really base to really good in terms of what they can do. And
Yeah.
they have this graph system where it's basically like a curve where it starts low and goes really high as you get up the tier. And they did this for kills per use and damage per use. So they expect it to be when you're using the energy sword, you get about a kill per time you spawn with it, versus the Prophet's Bane you would get around 2, and then the other 2 are in between that. And that's
Man,
their logic behind
1
this.
kill per sword use.
That's what they expected, or this is what is like. Oh, it says ideally things with the energy sword would look like this. So they only expect you to get a kill with the energy sword every time you spawn.
That's kind of bad, actually.
Seems
I mean,
bad.
It's weapon balance. Yeah, you kind of have to keep that, but
And so they analyzed some weapons and found an outlier within the fuel rods, where the base fuel rod and the second fuel rod were doing much better than the 3rd level fuel rod, which is supposed to be the best. And then I believe they're updating some other weapons like the plasma caster and the hydra launcher. The plasma caster cluster grenades are more effective. It has less of an arc when you charge it, and there's a regular grenade. Regular grenade will explode slightly faster after bouncing. Hydra launcher gets like a more like splash damage. Essentially, gets more splash radius. And then there's a variant of it called the Typhon. It actually can lock onto 3 enemies now, just because. And then they go on to start talking about other stuff. I do not want to go through this because it's just going to bore you. But there's updates to the plasma caster and all of its variants, the Hydra launcher, the scatter shot, rocket launcher, binary rifle, Covenant carbine. See, I'm already getting bored just telling you what's updated in it. There's a good amount of stuff that's updated. If you're interested, go for it. If not, you may not even, you'll notice when you play, maybe not. Oh, sorry, I had like a little burp coming on there that I stifled. Anyways, community spotlight. There's a montage. I haven't watched it. Montages are cool. I'm gonna guess that one's cool. Then there's a new map called Brutalist, even though there's now a stance called Brutalist. I don't know how to describe this map, but it's just kind of like there's like a corridor inside like a dark area. Whatever, looks kind of cool. But then the one after this called Beaver Creek.
Yes.
Which you may or may not know.
I love that map.
Is a remake from Halo 1 and Halo 2, and then Halo Reach when they did the Combat Evolved Anniversary playlist. Yep. So that's cool. It looks super awesome. I totally want to play it. And then last but not least, we have the Play of the Week. I kind of want to play it for you guys since it should capture it perfectly. I don't want to lie about that. But basically, to sum it up, this guy gets a Killtrocity with a sniper rifle down 43 to 46 and ends up winning the game for them. He gets 1 sniper kill and then 6 more all in a row to get the Killtrocity medal to win the game 50 to 49. It's pretty freaking sweet. So I would definitely watch it if you want to feel bad about your skills. If you don't want to feel bad about your skills, don't watch it. Easy as said. Easy as that. So that is the Halo update. Memories of Reach looks pretty sweet. I think once it comes out, I might jump on and try and pull a Meals helmet. See what happens. I doubt I'll get it, but
yeah, it's worth a shot.
Definitely worth a shot. But let's go on to the game that we play pretty regularly, and that is Destiny. This is the last
small game called Destiny. I never heard of it.
This very small game called Destiny. This is the last topic we have before our countdown. So if you've been waiting for that, it is coming. Don't worry, we haven't forgot. I'm super excited for it. Anyways, this is a really quick update. Honestly, there is not much to talk about in this, and that's why That's why I said we're gonna get through it really quick here. Basically, there's some bugs, and the main bug is punch recognition or punch. I don't know how to describe this. Basically, when you go to punch somebody and you hear it hit them, but you don't deal damage to them, that seems kind of odd, doesn't it? Well, there's a reason for that, and it has to do with netcode and how your Xbox or PlayStation determines where you're standing or punching compared to other people's PlayStations and Xbox. It's really in depth and stuff like that. But basically, the guy, whose name is John Cable, is the dude who fixes all the bugs that everyone hates, and he's our hero, and he'll fix that.
Yay! Thank you, John Cable.
But they will not be implementing it when this update 2.2.0.2 comes out on Tuesday. They will be implementing it a week later manually, and I don't know if they are going to roll it out in certain playlists or all playlists. But they're doing it so they don't break the sandbox is basically their preparation, I guess is the right word. They're cautious, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, they don't want to do what other developers do and break the game with an update. Not naming names.
Oh man, I can't think of anyone who would do that. No one. Not even the guys who we just covered in the past update. Like literally the last thing we just. Who would do such a? Anyways. Ghost of Meridian aside, they still haven't fixed custom games. If you hadn't guessed by now.
But hey, they're adding more.
Hey, they're adding more content, and that's what's important. Content over quality, obviously.
Not if you can't play that content.
Yeah. Anyways. Other than that, Iron Banner's live, if you didn't hear us say that earlier. There was an issue with Iron Banner where people's reputation was still rank 5 when it came out. And then about a half hour into Iron Banner being live, they reset everyone's rank. So if you accidentally gained a rep in that time, you didn't get it. So sorry about that. But other than that...
but they fixed it.
Yeah, they did. So.
You can imagine where that was going.
Yeah. It was interesting. I wasn't online when it happened, but I did see some people being like, what the fuck? Like, as I would be. Anyways, they show you the Challenge of the Elders champions, which are the high scores, and holy crap, how do you get 112,000 points in Challenge of the Elders? Can't even begin to imagine how that happens.
I could see it for the first week where it was primary precision kills and primary weapon damage and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier, but last week where a lot of people I know almost struggled for points. 112,000. That's insane.
That is nuts. So, holy cow. Second place 90,000, third place 84,000. These are all with some change, not on the dot, by the way. They're all around like actually 500 extra points on top of their 84,000, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Pretty impressive. I don't know how they did it, and if they can do that with the modifiers from last week, I'm kind of scared to see what the high score from this week will be.
I don't know. I've hit 41,000 this week, so
Yeah.
that's it's going to be pretty impressive.
Yeah. And so that pretty much covers the update. Like I said, there's as always the community section, which I hate to say I never go through and look at or watch, but if you're interested in any of that, there's 3 videos down there. We're not going to get into them because we're going to get into our own stuff here, and I'm going to leave Bungie on screen real quick while we discuss our honorable mentions. But we're going to go through our top 5 favorite video game soundtracks, something I'm super excited to do, and I'm going to try something. It might work, it might not, but every time in our top 5, each of us have selected essentially a song, and we're going to play it via YouTube on off screen. You can't see it, you're just going to hear it. Grunt won't get to hear it, which kind of sucks for him. He has his
I can
iPod
hear them
handy.
all in my head, though.
Yeah, he's got them in his head. Yeah, he has his iPod handy too. That's how we picked out the songs we wanted. But I'm going to play
That's my
about
fun.
I'm going to play about 20 seconds of each soundtrack essentially. But the number 1 picks that we have, we're probably going to play about 30 seconds, maybe a little more, just so we can bask in their glory because we love them so much. Anyways, if it doesn't work too well, we won't try something like this again. But since we've only done one other top 5, and it was literally just showing you pictures, this one we're going to show you a picture and then play part of the song for you. So that way our words don't describe it, the true sound describes it more than we could say. So that being said, I vote we go into some quick honorable mentions, and then we will start off this countdown. So last time we just kind of had each of us name all of our honorable mentions, so I feel like we can just swap back and forth here. So we'll start with you, Grunt. What is an honorable mention of one of your favorite soundtracks of all time from video games?
Well, Borderlands 2. I mean, I played that game forever,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard the soundtrack a lot, and it's, when you're sitting there in the middle of a canyon, you can hear calming music that makes everything seem so peaceful. And then you turn around, go into the nearest little bandit camp or something, and it's just absolute chaos, and the music changes to reflect that. And then it goes back to the calm, quiet music of staring at that pretty double rainbow in the background.
Yeah,
So,
that's always a good sign of a video game soundtrack being able to encapsulate the moment.
right.
Speaking of that, Civilization 5, Sid Meier's Civ 5, is a very good honorable mention in my mind. What's so great about this soundtrack is you can play as many different countries of many different origins and culture, and whenever you interact with any of them in the game, their country's music essentially plays, and
That's very cool.
it's very good. Like if I'm Montezuma of the Aztecs, I'm gonna get this like tribal stuff. But when I go talk to I don't remember his name, but the Japanese guy, I'll get this very like sitar type Japanese music to play, and it fits very well. American. I think the American music is like a battle drum, like revolutionary stuff or something like that, versus
America.
England being very classical. Like it's all very fitting. So that's a very good game in terms of soundtrack and
That's
how.
actually very cool that they
And,
did
and
that.
the music itself is just great. Even objectively looking at it without knowing where they fit in, it's very good.
Right.
So that would be one of mine, definitely favorites, but not top 5.
Yeah. I only have one other honorable mention, so if you have more than...
Yeah, I'll go through I have 5 honorable mentions because I couldn't pick.
Yeah, you
Civ 5
you
was
better go.
So I essentially have a top 10, and I didn't want to spend too much time on the other 5. Number 9, I guess, is Legend of Zelda. I've never actually played a Legend of Zelda game, to be openly honest, but everybody and their mother knows the theme to Legend of Zelda, so it's hard to sit here and say best soundtracks, favorite soundtracks, and I love the song itself. I've just never actually played the game, so I just figured I'd throw that in here because I do like it. I love listening to it, but I've never played it. And then another one that I've never played but love listening to is Mass Effect, especially Mass Effect 3. That soundtrack is it's epic.
I've heard that's really good.
If you don't like being startled, And if you've ever listened to the Interstellar soundtrack, it's kind of similar in that sense where it's just like really, really high pitched, kind of quiet piano, and then blah out of nowhere. So um, that happens on a couple songs, but it's still freaking great. And then Destiny's The Taken King is one of my other ones, especially after I experienced the Taken King music going into the Prison of Elders when the update came out. My God, that was amazing. And that's what really sold me on the soundtrack. Like the first Destiny soundtrack, I could take it or leave it, but when they played the Taken King, I actually felt emotion when I got into it because I didn't know what to expect when fighting the Taken the first time, and this music was making me kind of scared of them. Now I don't care, but when I first got into it, I was just like, oh dear God.
They're really
Um,
menacing, aren't they?
it was kind of scary, like legitimately scary. So um, now we can hand it off to you because I have one left. So what is your last honorable mention here?
Fallout 4.
That's also mine. So I'm just gonna we're gonna bundle them up here. I have
Oh,
Fallout 3 and or 4, and I think we kind of have the same idea with it.
pretty much. It it sounds amazing for post-apocalyptic, times. Also, it's downright, I wouldn't say terrifying, but it's both ominous and a little creepy to hear the old 50 style radio coming from a building when, or 50 style radio, 50 style music coming from a building that you're approaching where you just killed a lot of super mutants or something. It's kind of creepy.
The soundtrack itself, like all the 50s and 60s songs talking about crawl out through the fallout and stuff, and the actual OST, which is like string and orchestra, like the main menu theme is just
It's amazing.
like I booted that up for the first time. It was just like, oh God, I am really playing an epic game, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
So those are our honorable mentions. So we didn't have any sound bites for you, because we went through them really quick, but that's totally fine. So let's start with our number five. I think I have grunts up first. Let's find out. Yeah, I do. It's on screen, but
All
I
right.
spoiled it. But what is it?
It's pretty much any soundtrack from the Assassin's Creed franchise. Um, the fact that what really sold it for me is their theme.
hmm
Um, and the fact that they've taken that theme and they've kept it sounding different enough from each game, but there's still elements of it. It's just to make it recognizable because, with most franchises like that, they have a theme that they use in general for most of their games.
hmm
So it's like you hear that and you're like, yes, I really am playing an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, and that's
And
always good.
yes, and the fact that they take their soundtracks for both their original work and some of the other stuff they have in there, and they match it to the time period that you're in. Like with Syndicate right now, since it's the one I'm playing, you're going to hear a lot of that Victorian era music and all of that stuff, and it sounds amazing. And it's been like that through all of the games.
So we're gonna play you the very first Assassin's Creed theme, I believe, is what order this is in, because it's just all the main themes in one video. So play about 20 seconds of that, and then since Grunt can't hear it, I'll have to let him know that we're done listening to it. So here's the Assassin's Creed main theme. Okay, so I abruptly stopped it because I can't fade it out, but I definitely can say from listening to the first 20 seconds of that, I definitely felt like I was in like Egypt, which was where the first one was basically based in, like that Jerusalem area.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely fitting. Can't say I've heard the rest of them, but you know what I mean.
It's amazing. If you would listen to probably that entire video, you have to send me that one, by the way, while I'm
Yeah,
done here.
I'll send you all the links I have pulled up so you can hear what you didn't get to hear.
Good,
And
good.
if, of course, if you listen to the podcast later, you can hear it. And if you listen to this and aren't watching it live, um, that was the whole purpose of this, is so that you could see what we were talking about. Anyways, my number five, totally out there and awesome at the same time. Tony Hawk's Underground 2, and the original soundtrack is just a compilation of a bunch of different bands put together, but it fits so well. And what's amazing is that every character who is in this game, Bam Margera, Tony Hawk, Rodney Mullen, everybody got a say in what song went in there. They got to pick, I think, at least one song, maybe two. So this soundtrack is just a compilation of what they love to play and skate to. So definitely fits when you're sitting there skating around. So I'm gonna play you one of my favorites from it, which is actually kind of hilarious, and it's Frank Sinatra, and the song is called "That's Life." I'm just gonna play a quick, like 20 seconds, like the last one. So here we go.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I.
Oh, whoops! I accidentally paused it and restarted it. But yeah, that's it's okay. It happens. Like I said, it's the first time trying this. But yeah, that was Frank Sinatra's "That's Life." It's off the Tony Hawk's Underground 2 soundtrack. There's a playlist of this on Spotify that I listen to pretty often. Songs include like "Pain" by Jimmy Eat World, "Ring of Fire" by Johnny Cash. There's so much on here. There's a couple of there's some Rancid. There's Nebula, Ministry, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Suicide Machines. Like there's so many different bands on
Wow.
this. It's
To go from
it's diverse.
Sinatra to Ministry.
Oh yeah,
Wow, that's
like
that
I
is
said,
very diverse.
it's very diverse. So that's my number five. Let's move on. Grunt, your number four.
Halo 2
Oh, if I clicked the button, it
specifically.
didn't switch over. There we go.
Halo 2. There's a lot I could say about it, but basically, like most game soundtracks, it has the really, really good ability to go from calming. You're on this beautiful ring of death. Like Halo
Mhm.
Ring, it can kill every living being in the galaxy. Just ignore that. But hey, it looks pretty.
Yeah.
To the very epic battles like what was the one level Metropolis where you're fighting the Scarab at the end.
Yep.
Oh, that was amazing. I remember that going through that level.
Yeah. And what's great is we're gonna play the song from that fight, which is Earth City, and yeah,
Even better.
it's pretty great. So we'll give you a quick little sample of that. Okay, well I'm totally gonna go play that game real quick. I'll be back. Like that was so good. I really feel bad that Grunt doesn't get to hear any of this
I,
right
I
now.
heard a little bit of it towards the end. I
Oh,
heard a
did you
little bit
really?
of it. Yes,
Was it like coming through my mic? Okay,
a little bit.
that's
Not
pretty
much.
great.
I've got the
It's
soundtrack for it, so I'll probably listen to it tonight.
yeah. So that's during the. Every time I hear that, I picture myself on the bridge on Metropolis right after the scare passes by. So
Yup,
it's
it's
pretty great. So
amazing.
um, a great number four, definitely in my opinion. Halo 2, one of my favorite games, as many of you know. So let's go on to my number four, which is postered in the background of every podcast ever because my girlfriend has it all over her wall, and that is the Arkham City soundtrack specifically, but the Arkham games in general. They have just an amazing soundtrack. I can't put it into words, to be honest, because of how freaking great it is. But the if you've ever seen The Dark Knight or any of those Christopher Nolan Batman movies, uh, I think Hans Zimmer did it. He didn't do this soundtrack, but whoever did do the soundtrack, I hate to say that, I don't know. They definitely were able to capture it in a very similar sense with like these like pseudo tribal drums in a sense, but amazing strings at the same time. So I'm gonna stop trying to describe it and just let you hear it because it's so freaking good. And this is the main theme, by the way. Okay, so that was actually perfect in terms of how it started and where it ended, but it's just very epic. Playing as Batman, you want to feel epic, and this music can definitely make you feel that way with the combined visuals and him fighting bad guys at all the times. It meshes so well to make such a great game, and there's a reason this game won many Game of the Year awards. So definitely listen to that if you've never listened to it.
I will have to go do that.
So
I've heard that it's very good.
it is very good. Arkham City is my favorite one, but I haven't honestly heard too much from Arkham Knight. But
Hmm.
Arkham City is very good. So, what is your number three?
Number three, it is from. It's one of those ones where I've never actually played the game. I'm familiar with the game, never played it. But it is the Mass Action game MAG, and it's actually music by the or for one of the factions that you get to play against. I think it is. I said an enemy faction.
So I think
Um,
so.
but it's the SVER faction. It's a soundtrack done by Apocalyptica, so I'm going to admit it right here. I'm biased towards it because of that fact.
Hey, it's top favorite, not top best.
But it just sounds awesome.
So yeah, I will start that up for you. This is called The Crushing Heel of Tyranny, and it is like you said by Apocalyptica. Okay, so if you don't know anything about Apocalyptica, they play cellos, and if you're sitting here saying that wasn't a cello, that was an electric guitar, well
That
then
was
you
definitely a cello.
have been fooled. That was super like just awesome and metal, and
Right.
I love that
Th-
about that.
and that's what, generally speaking, that's what I love about Apocalyptica is, when I first heard him, I'm like, oh, that's a very cool guitar work. And then I got into researching them, and it's like, oh, it's a Finnish cello metal band. I'm like, no way.
It's four
There's no
cellos.
way.
It's pretty great. And
I don't-
they've had different like singers come and sing for songs that they've done, but they started off as a Metallica cover band playing cellos instead. It's
Right.
pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, but that's my number three. It's amazing. I love how it, has this impending doom sound to it, and overall, it just
That's what I was
sounds.
thinking during it. I was like,
Yeah,
these
it
guys
sounds
seem
great.
scary.
I'm a little biased. Not gonna lie about that. I admit it.
It's totally fine. So, definitely something I want to listen to later a little more because that 25 to 30 seconds, however long I sat there and let it go, was definitely not enough. Which I'm going to feel about this very next one. My number three is a possibly a little known game, Binding
Never
of Isaac. I think everybody knows about this game now.
Never heard of it.
I was definitely into it. I'm still into it, but I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I was the first to play it. But I definitely was among the earlier people to play it. But nonetheless, that aside, this soundtrack is done very well. It's done by one person. It is can't remember his name off the top of my head. It says it right at the beginning too, but he is super super good at meshing this. If you don't know what the Binding of Isaac is, it's basically this kid named Isaac. His mother's like super religious and delusional and thinks God told her to sacrifice her son to him. So he tries to escape through the trapdoor in his room, which puts him into his basement where all these like biblical themed terrifying monsters exist, and he fights them with his tears. And then you get super various power ups, and it's an arcade game, but it's very dark. So I think this is the basement theme, which is the first floor that you play when you drop down. This is the theme from that, and it's very dark and kind of like it's kind of metally in that sense too. So I definitely like that these are back to back, yours versus mine. But anyways, this is the Binding of Isaac basement theme from the first Binding of Isaac, not the Rebirth reboot, essentially. So that was, like I said, the basement theme. Very, very dark, very mechanical, actually, is another way to put it, because it was all done through a computer. But nonetheless, it was very... It sounded like Doom was impending, is the best way to put it. And that's kind of the truth of this whole story, because he's just going into his basement to fight things until he either dies, or, spoiler alert, he wakes up in the end and finds out it's all a dream, his mom sacrifices him anyway. So...
Well, that's dark.
That was the story,
Wow.
the first one, story, quote unquote, because it wasn't too much story based. It was just like go through the levels, get the power ups, try to win. So yeah, Anyways, love that soundtrack. There's a theme for every floor and a couple other things and different sound effects, but most part that's one of my favorite songs from that soundtrack. So
Yes, I'll have to
Grunt.
give that a listen to.
Yeah, I'll give you a link. But what is your number two?
My number two. This little. It's part of this little game we talked about earlier. It's called Destiny.
Oh, okay.
But it's specifically the Taken King soundtrack, not the original. The original soundtrack was good, but the Taken King version was so much better. Yeah, it doesn't have Marty O'Donnell's name on it. People upset about that, but it sounds so amazing. Like you said, when it was your honorable mention, it made the Taken feel threatening. And really, all you have to do is just listen to Regicide, the first, the opening of Regicide, and you will understand why.
Yeah, so we're gonna play for you the song "Regicide" off the Taken King soundtrack, and you'll understand what we've been trying to say all this time. Like, man, this is pretty terrifying. So here we go. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say low brass mixed with opera singers or chorus choirs. It's kind of terrifying. Just throwing it out there.
It really is, yeah.
That 20-second bit was actually perfect because I got to cut it off right when all the horns stopped and nothing happened. So
Nice.
I was contemplating letting it go a little longer, but I was like, nah, I don't feel like I'm going to get another good time to cut it off. So perfect.
No, that was perfect. But that you heard there is exactly why I love that soundtrack. It also has the music from The Dark Below, so you get to hear the music on it that plays when you're jumping up after downing Crota and about ready to hit him with the sword and kill him. And that just, even listening to it without playing the game, when I'm writing an article or doing something else, it sounds amazing. It gives you that rush of, you could almost say adrenaline, but it gives you that epic feeling that I'm about to do something really, really important in this game.
Definitely. So that's, like you said, Taken King, very good soundtrack. Doesn't have Marty O'Donnell's name on it, which in my opinion is good because it sounded a little much like a derivative of Halo, which is what everyone was expecting when it first came out. So I think it's good that they shed the roots of that and have moved on. But anyways, topic for a different day, I think. But let's move on to my number two. Very iconic, not gonna lie. This is up there with Legend of Zelda in terms of what everyone will notice, but my childhood was encompassed by one single game, and that was Pokemon Red and Blue, and obligatory mention of Yellow because that's what's on screen. But Pokemon Red and Blue have the most iconic soundtrack besides my number one in my mind because I can sing every single song of every route. I could tell you whatever route it is. I could tell you what city it is. I could tell you which battle type I was in. I could tell you everything because of how much I know this. And that could just be because I spent all my time playing this as a kid, or it could be because it's just a damn good soundtrack. So I could do that for this one, and I think the third generation, which was Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire, but Red and Blue have some of the most iconic music in my mind. I wanted to play you Lavender Town, but I chose not to because it's creepy, and two, it's not as memorable, I don't think, as the actual opening theme, which I will play really quick for you here. Give you the first couple of seconds of it just because you're going to know it the moment you hear it. So here we go. So that was only like 10 seconds because it keeps going after that, but anytime you hear that, you know what it is. So
it's the theme to that.
Yeah, that's just the theme. I mean, there are dozens of other songs off of this. Lavender Town, like I said, is a very iconic one just because of how creepy and eerie it is, and that's where the Pokemon graveyard is. It's Pokemon Tower where the Pokemon souls go to lay rest, which is the equivalent of a
graveyard.
A graveyard, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Elite Four battle music is fucking epic. And what's amazing is all this was done digitally back in 1996. So that's why it sounded really weird instead of being like an orchestra or anything like that, which is even cooler, I think. So definitely one of my favorites of all time. And with that being said, favorites of all time, Grunt, would you like to mention or would you like to go into what your number one is?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Like a good plan.
Okay.
Hmm. We were just mentioning his name, Marty O'Donnell.
Yeah.
I
You got a couple of
love
games to pick from now.
yes. Um, I love the work he did with the Halo 3 ODST soundtrack.
As do many,
That
I've
is
heard.
yes, that is probably my favorite Halo soundtrack. Period. Out of all of them, including 4 and 5, which I did enjoy them, but ODST is by far the best. I think.
Well, he didn't do 4 and 5.
No, he didn't.
Right.
But still, that's from all Halo games.
Right. Good point.
It's just it really nails the setting that they were going for, or the feeling that they were going for during that game. The whole alone, fighting uphill, desperate times kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the music that plays during encounters during the ends of levels is really amazing. I think I can't remember the exact name of the level, but it's like the third or fourth mission in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't
love
remember
the
the name.
music. Yeah, you play as Dutch, and you're just driving through this like forest or not forest, like preserve, this nature preserve, and it's amazing. I think it's a song that you have pulled up, anyways.
Which is called the Menagerie, by the way.
Yeah, so
So we'll
I
go
just
ahead and play that for you, but yeah. Finish what you're going to say before I start it.
I just love the music. It is perfect for the game and what they were trying to nail for the setting.
Gotcha. Okay, well, this is from the Halo 3 ODST original soundtrack. It's called the Menagerie. Hopefully this will make you want to listen to it more, so here we go. Okay, so I want that go on for about 30 35 seconds there since it's our top pick. So my quote to Grunt was, "I will let you bask in it."
Thank you.
But that was the first like 35 seconds of the Menagerie. Very, I don't know how to describe that. It was just like one drum almost for the most part, but still set so much of a tone to it. So
Oh yeah.
definitely really good. So I would give every Halo soundtrack a listen to if I were you.
Yeah,
They are
definitely.
so good.
Yeah.
With that being said, and you probably could have guessed what my number one was going to be, but we're not leaving the world of Marty O'Donnell because we're going to Halo 2. I have a picture of Halo 3 on screen because I generally just wanted to say the Halo franchise, but Halo 2 specifically is my favorite. It was, once again, my childhood encompassed in Pokemon Red and Blue and Halo 2 because that was all I freaking played ever. But Halo 2's soundtrack, it's another one where I could tell you where each song was being played and when. So you play me a track, I could say, oh, I know exactly where that was. So,
Oh yeah.
and Grunt encapsulated it very well when he talked about it in his honorable mentions that it just, you're on this, or sorry, not your number 4, well, you're on this, like, sorry, for some reason I thought it was honorable mentions, but you're on this ring that's beautiful, but also could destroy the entire world. So you have songs like, I remember specifically, there's one where, like, there's a jackal hiding in the bush. It's not a song name, there's, like, this, that's just a section of a level or something, and it's
Yep.
just playing this like little prancing bum 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 on the strings, and that's part where you're just like exploring this beautiful desolate wasteland of a ring that's got like all kinds of tropical life, but for some reason is gonna destroy everything. And then you get something else like the song In Amber Clad, which is my choice for you to listen to, which kind of is just one of those things where it. I can't describe how the song works besides that you know something is coming from it, and it makes you just feel pretty epic to be able to fly in this big ass ship and land and take down enemies. And I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm just gonna let you hear it because this is by far my favorite song from the Halo series. right, so I let it get into the best part of it for about 3 seconds, but the only crime this song has ever committed is that it's only a minute and a half long. But it is easily my favorite. That bass line in the beginning is just so freaking good. And then it kicks in with the drums and guitar, and it's just great. So that is by far my favorite song off that series. Halo 2, obviously, is probably going to be the number one pick for anything I ever pick, ever, if it's not something along the lines of top 5 worst things ever. So
Top 5 worst things ever.
just one of my favorite and heralded games of my childhood that I still play to this day. Because it's just so good. Even it holds up, even though there's so many glitches that I just love exploiting. Luckily, I can't get banned for playing it, but that's not the point.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. All right, guys. I think that about wraps us up for this episode. I hope you enjoyed our picks. If you guys have if you have favorite songs or soundtracks that you want to let us know, send us tweets, comment on this article, whatever you would like to do. I'd love to hear your guys' favorite stuff. Do you have anything else for us before I wrap it up here, Grunt?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Just give the soundtracks a listen. That's
a good
that's
idea.
about it.
I would definitely give all these a listen, and I hope you guys like them. So with that being said, you can tweet at us on Twitter. I'm at FranticJ3. He's at Onyx Spartan, ONYX, all one word. And you can tweet at the Frantic Talks Twitter account. That is at Frantic_Talks. That's where we tweet about any articles we write, any podcasts we place, or just kind of hype you up about random things for some reason. We do that.
We do.
If you're on a Twitter person, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Frantic Talks, all one word. We will only really ever put articles or podcasts there, nothing really else, because Twitter's a better platform for that. If you want to read the articles that we write, or read the podcast, or not read the podcast, listen to the podcasts.
I want to read it.
Yeah, read the podcast, just like, frantictalks.com, all one word. And then there's also magic.frantictalks.com. That's where you can find where I and my good friend Luke write about Magic the Gathering, a trading card game that you may or may not have heard of. And then we also have a Twitch account, which is where we are streaming this every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's twitch.tv/FranticJ3 the third, which is the word the, and then the numbers 3RD. What are you going to say?
And why is it the third?
Because some bastard took FranticJ3.
There we go.
Never get over that. I really won't.
It's like whoever holds the Onyx Spartan gamer tag. I want that. Just let it go.
It'd be really weird calling you Grunt if you're going to be Onyx Spartan on Xbox, but
well, yeah,
little secret.
I've kind of grown attached to Stored Grunt too, so
another good reason. Anyways, last but not least, we have a YouTube channel. It does not have an official URL. We need 100 subscribers. This is where we post this video version of the podcast. I post it every Sunday. I actually posted it last Monday because I had a busy Sunday. Even though I said in the podcast I didn't think I was going to have a busy Sunday, I ended up having one. So I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say it tends to get posted on Sunday, including the podcast on iTunes. Just search for Frantic Talks. But the YouTube channel, like I said, 100 subscribers. I did have a Nuzlocke series going. I haven't gotten a chance to get back into that. Didn't have too much traction to begin with, so I haven't had the most motivation to do it. But if you want me to keep doing it, let me know. Either way, doesn't matter. You can go subscribe, and you can see this podcast in its video form instead of its audio form. And beyond that, I think that's all we got for you this week. We will see you next week, guys. And I am Frantic.
I'm Grunt.
I already said it once, but yes, we will see you again next time.